Hello again, it's Garson, and today are we talking about the Swarmkeeper and its different types? Well, no. We are talking about the jellyfish from the new Swarmkeeper for the Ranger subclass, but we're also going to talk about another new favorite, the giant Barbarian, in fact. So, what happens if we put the Elemental Cleaver and the Swarm damage together? Let's find out. Crab, launch. Yeehaw! Don't forget to zap your crab. Woohoo! Zap him again. And... Okay, so how much damage did that do? Pretty hefty amount of damage for launching a crab and getting some weird interactions there, but that's not what we're here to see. We're here to see the Elemental Cleaver. So we gotta go enraged. And then we're gonna take our main hand and we're gonna apply some lightning to the lightning jabber. And now it comes back to us when we throw it, but this is pretty crazy. Wait until you see this, alright? We can go further beyond this, so keep in mind, but yeah, this does stupid amounts of damage. So how much was that? 24 lightning damage with the 27 piercing damage. We're doing easily over 50 damage. It can get nastier than that. Let's see what happens if we actually get some jellyfish zapping. Oh, you want to hurt my bear, huh? My bear friends. I am the defender of nature. I am the jelly giant. Here we go. So again, what happens if we combine both features? Bazap! Bazap! Holy sh... Oh, that's without water, dude. That's insanity. Okay, look at that. We got some 19, basically 20 damage on both. A whole nother 20 damage. It basically doubles up your first throw. It's absolute insanity. So I'm going to show you some fun little combo today. It won't be a long video, but more importantly, I have some answers for patch 8 because you guys keep asking me some really cool questions. So as always, let's bust out the notes. Alright, so we'll be talking about the giants and the jellies. Just a quick combo, something fun with the new subclasses, mixing them together. We found out about this on stream. It wasn't my idea, it was you guys, so a big thank you for all the silly ideas and combos and some of the questions I just got. So we'll go over some shockingly big damage. I'll explain these pretty simply, but more importantly, let's get into some patch 8 answers. As always, this is the stress test. It's subject to change. Top left, but hopefully they get this out there. It's still got a few bugs. We are playing it on the patch with the new subclasses, and I'm also experimenting with you guys on the stream. So let's get into some of your questions though, because the comments have just been popping off. Okay, all right, I got a few video clips for you today to go over some questions here. Let's dive right into it. First off, where is this? Whoop, wrong folder. Okay, so Probe was asking, hey, does the piercing arrow we just talked about with Arcane Archer, does that actually get the sharpshooter? Somebody said it was, somebody said it wasn't. So let's actually see on Shadow Art here. I do have the Rhapsody bonuses. I'm going to use the Herald in another question anyway. So let's see if this piercing arrow, you can see there's no sharpshooter right now in the preview. And then there is sharpshooter. It's telling me, once again, arcane arrows lie to you. Okay, so if I take a shot, you're going to see that I actually do get the sharpshooter damage. Right? So right here, sharpshooter is included on just a standard shot, so we know that's working, right? So what happens if I go for a piercing shot? Alright, gonna actually space this so I don't get in trouble from the guards. Even more guards, rather. Alright, so I'm gonna try not to hit the innocents, and I go for a piercing shot. So, the misunderstanding is maybe it's not in the combat log, maybe it's actually totaling up correctly, it's just not reflected. Well, this guy took 20 damage, and you can see right here, this is 15 damage and 5 damage. So he took 20 damage. It's being recorded correctly, but really only Rhapsody is being added, including my basic dexterity and weapon damage, plus the piercing spell itself, right? So Sharpshooter is not adding on really any of these arrow types at all. Even the bursting arrow doesn't really get a bonus, but funny enough, check this out. I'll do the bursting damage. It causes force damage in an area, plus whatever damage I initially hit a target with, right? So really only Rhapsody, go figure, Rhapsody is so great, always applies to everything it seems, but not Sharpshooter. So yeah, Probe, good question. Doesn't seem like it's being applied in any capacity there. A lot of questions though with piercing shots, so let's keep it going with Lenam's question. A lot of you guys asked a similar question to Lenam. Hold on, let me pull up this video. Bear with me. Alright, so Lenam is asking... Basically, so does it work? Does piercing arrow make Bane happen with the Herald? I'd be happy if I was proven wrong. Well, Linom, you were actually right, and I hate jumping to the gun. This is why I don't make assumptions. This is why I double check myself. I'll be the first to apologize. I'm sorry, because in that video, I kind of made it sound like Bane does actually apply on the piercing shot. In fact, I think I said it did, and so I was wrong, and you guys seem to be right. Piercing doesn't actually carry the effects of oils, combustions, all that stuff, but especially not Herald. Herald's special ability is when you shoot somebody, you can get the Bane effect, right? So with a regular shot, I was able to cause Bane on the robot, but even with piercing shot over and over and over again, I just can't get Herald to apply Bane. So yeah, it seemed like it was a really good use case of Herald and piercing shot together, but that's just not the case, unfortunately. But we're going to look a little bit more into piercing shot with another question here. So let me pull up another one. We have the next video real quick. Squirrel was asking, he said, do coatings apply to all enemies? What about the combustion oil and a piercing arrow that does the fire damage from the flawed Helldust gloves? Well, I've got that combo here. I have the combustion oil, and this is going to answer our question. So we have the fire damage, we have Herald again, right? So I'm going to be able to hit with a normal arrow and apply this combustion oil, right? But let's see what happens, right? I'll apply it to a single guy, get into combat. Okay, I know the oil's working because I hit him with it. It's now applied the oil, right? So what happens if I use a piercing with some kind of oil, right? You know, Bane doesn't work on Herald, but do oils work? No. But you know, your idea of using a combustion oil with a fiery shot does actually work. Watch this. Boop, boop, boop. So the multi-arrow might be the way to go for that, where it actually detonates that first guy and then he detonates the other guys and so on and so forth. Something I gotta experiment is that oil, make a video all about it. But unfortunately, in terms of the piercing arrow, you know, like the seeking arrow and all this stuff, yeah, it's very, like, just doesn't play well with these coatings or bonuses. Or in fact, let me show you something I was curious about, and I think we asked on stream let me kind of show it here in video. This is the Titanstring bow. What I'm going to do is switch over to the Titanstring. I have all my other bonuses. I even have the Brood Mothers. And again, we have fire damage, so a lot of rainbow damage, green, red, different types of damage types. I'm going to use the Titanstring bow. If you don't know the Titanstring bow, when you have really large strength, like this strength elixir, and I'll have the Rhapsody bonus. I have everything I can add to this thing. Right, this is what makes the Titanstring bow so strong. Does it apply that strength bonus to everything else, or at least the piercing damage, or any of the spell damage? And no. We can see here that the Titanstring bow actually works just fine, adds a lot of damage to your regular damage, your piercing damage rather, but it doesn't affect these special arrow types, right? So piercing really acts more like a spell than anything. That's why I said it's very similar to Barrage. Somewhat better than Barrage because it comes in at level 3, it only costs 1 arcane arrow, you can actually shoot it 3 times at level 11, like, it's pretty crazy, but you want to go for this rainbow damage. That's what does work, actually. Not Titanstring, not oils, not Herald, special effects. But if you actually add a lot of damage types, and even Rhapsody, just not Titanstring bow, that's one of these exceptions to the rules. So piercing ammo, or piercing arrow is something I really want to look into making a build about. We've experimented a little bit on stream, and we experimented here on video, but yeah, it's just a lot of these weird arrows like Seeking Arrow, Bursting Arrow, and Piercing Arrow just don't get these additional effects, except good old Rhapsody always adds to everything, right? So usually what it is the initial arrow will get some bonus damage from Titanstring, but Seeking and Piercing, those don't get anything from Titanstring, right? Figured I'd clarify that. But thank you, because I was wrong to assume the Bane from Herald works on these. So thank you guys for asking these questions. They all kind of clear things up with the piercing arrows. Let's move into Lost Soul real quick. I actually want to shout out Lost Soul before I move on from Arcane Archer. So Lost Soul, man, he keeps coming into the comments with really interesting, awesome information. He's looking into the Matrix. I don't claim to know a lot of the coding here, but what it kind of spells out is a lot of the formula for these arcane shots is based on dealing damage as a weapon, and then the spell source. This is why it can't be counterspelled, and Lost Soul Man would know how to explain this a lot better, but it's really cool that he keeps showing us what's under the hood. It really helps from my testing, from what I can see playing the game, but he can actually see the code by going in and just messing around and just seeing what it's actually calling for. So I just want to give a shout out to him because I have the coolest comments. So thank you, Lost Soul Man. All right, so then let's move on to another video talking about some of the swarm related stuff, since we covered that recently in a video, right? So how about... There we go. Pop this open. Alright, check it out. So, Sezemia. Yes. Can you confirm that the swarm doesn't work on cantrips? Maybe the attack and the save types? I've got all of them. In fact, I'm an evocation wizard. I can land saves every single time, so it doesn't matter my accuracy. But it seems that as a Swarmkeeper mixed with, you know, well, any kind of way you can get a cantrip, right? It seems like the save types don't work, but watch this. This is an attack type of cantrip. What? You can use your Swarmkeeper abilities? What? You can use the Swarm abilities with attack type cantrips. No. That's actually not right. Let me reset this real quick for you. What I've done in the video is just jumped ahead, right? And, okay, spells. Do spells work? Well, spells that have a spell save, like the Lightning Bolt, still don't work, right? But it's not cantrips how this is working. This is any spell attack, just like an arrow or a melee weapon works with your swarm. So that was a really good question. I appreciate that, because it turns out, yes indeed, you can use not just cantrips, but all types of spell attack, but not save types will work with the swarms, right? And that leads us to today's bulk of the video, right? It's a pretty quick one, but check this out. So I had Sonitude. He said, hey, did the jellyfish, the moths, do the bees, do they all benefit from their respective vulnerabilities? You know, like the resonance stone on psychic, the ball's chest for piercing resistance, or vulnerability rather, or the wet condition on the jellyfish. Well, the short answer is yes, but we're going to see some jellyfish action. And I also had Spooky here. He said, okay, I was back in the lab, Giant Barb, Swarmkeeper. Does Swarmkeeper work with Elemental Cleaver and Rage? Well, we already know it does, but we're going to answer both of these questions right here, and we'll keep it pretty simple. All right, short and sweet. Elemental Cleaver, so you know, in game here, you must be enraged. This is part of the new Barbarian Path of the Giants subclass, right? You'll have to get to level 6, and you have to enrage in combat. But once you do, this costs no action, and it'll last for 10 turns, basically as long as you rage anyway. So you'll have to be level 6. You must enrage. It doesn't cost an action, a bonus action, nothing. So just keep, if you accidentally got the wrong element type, but it'll add 1d6 to main hand, okay? And then once you throw it, it'll return back to you. So it adds all these properties to your main hand, which is very important because we want the lightning jabber here to be our main hand. So make sure you know which position's in, okay? This is insanity because the Tavern Brawler actually works. What I'm gonna do is pull back the notes in a second just to show you, but the giant 1d4 bonus also applies. For anyone who's not sure, like if you had the Elixir of Colossus, which is a doubled stack, but when you go into a giant form, you literally turn enlarged, like a bigger size, right? Double. And so what you get out of this is you get a 1d4 bonus. That's just what enlarged does anyway, other than making you big. You actually get rage damage is doubled up. Okay, and all of these are applying to the new element you just added from the Elemental Cleaver. This is already insanely cool, insanely strong. But there is a fun fusion, and you have just enough with your multiclass to actually make a very good multiclass evolution into a ranger that has the Jelly Swarm for Swarmkeeper Rangers. So of course you have to go into your subclass at level 3 Ranger, so this takes a little while coming off of your you know, level 5, level 6 Barbarian, whenever you want to try and split over to the multiclass. But 3 more levels into Ranger and you'll get Swarmkeeper, and you should take the Jellyfish Swarm because out of all your reaction choices, right, the shocking attack is going to add another lightning damage 1d6, and so per turn you can choose this little damage type. Of course, it's based on Swarm, that's why you want the Jellyfish for lightning, but it'll apply the Tavern Brawler on throne attacks. This is absolutely insane, and it is fantastic with some kind of source of lightning charges. So if you don't know, if you want lightning charges to your Barbarian, your throwing build, you should go with the Sparkle Hands. Every time you throw, you get 2 lightning charges. And this really racks up damage, right? The more instances of damage. Back in the day, something like this and Lightning Jabber was absolutely cuckoo because of the way damage riders work, and Rhapsody, and just riding and just getting multiple benefits. Okay, I won't go into all that stuff, but let me peel back some of the notes here so I can show you what we're talking about. A little more explanation. What I'm talking about is, so just standard, right? On a Barbarian, let's just say a throwing Tavern Brawler user, Tavern Brawler takes your strength that you would normally get on throne attacks, right? And it gets to throw it in double, okay? So 8 and 8 from Tavern Brawler and from normal just throwing attacks. Now when you're enraged, you become larger, so you get the 1d4 bonus to your weapon damage. Okay, and that'll apply to a throwing attack as well, so that's really good. Also, normally for every Barbarian when they're enraged, they get a little rage bonus damage. So here it's 2 damage, but it says in the Enrage for the Path of the Giants, you actually get this twice over. So that's 2 and 2. And the reason this says Rage is because, of course, you've become enlarged. Okay, so this is more of the enlarging effect during the Enrage. But your Rage bonus gets doubled up on thrown attacks. And then we have Rhapsody. Good old Rhapsody's good at everything. It's crazy. And then, of course, Tavern Brawler, like I said earlier. But the insanity lies in the fact that with the Sparky Hands, right, you're going to get lightning charges every time you throw, and once you have one lightning charge, it's going to apply to like every other instance of damage essentially. So you'll keep seeing little pop-ups of this, and the thing about lightning charges is once they pop off, there's like 5 or 6 more stacks. The next time a lightning charge would go off, it pops for additional 1d8 lightning damage. And of course, go figure, lightning damage can lightning charges can ride off of that. Scarlet Rhapsody or Scarlet Remittance from Rhapsody also rides off of that. You can just see all this comboing together. It's insanity. Okay, now a giant cleaver is so strong because once you add this element here at the bottom, we're going to add lightning. This is also going to benefit from everything we said. So now you can see just from the lightning that comes from the elemental cleaver, it also gets the enlarge bonus from your rage, 1d4 additional lightning. It also gets double the rage damage bonus. What the hell? That's 4 more lightning damage. It also gets Scarlet Remittance from Rhapsody, plus 3 damage. And it also gets Tavern Brawler, and it also gets the stupid lightning charge damage. And if that wasn't enough, as a Swarmkeeper, once per turn, you can get an attack for more lightning damage. And you bet, you guessed it, it gets to double up on everything that doubled up. We have another 1d6 lightning. We have 1d4 lightning rage from the big enrage, then 2 and 2 from rage and Scarlet. You see what I'm talking about here. And again, there's more lightning damage. And if you can keep popping off these instances that give lightning charges from the sparkle hands, you will inevitably get too many charges and it will pop for another 1d8 lightning. That's how this is happening in a single attack. Okay, so really, this is quite the crazy multi-class. Okay, we're going to reload it because there's one more thing we can do, like Sonitude basically kind of asked earlier, right? Can you double up damage? All right, so let's do the build, Tim. Very simple. You've already seen most of what it is. We're 8 giant. We're 4 Swarmkeeper. And we have the stats. We don't need strength because we'll use an elixir to get the best strength possible. So we'll use some dexterity for our armor class, initiative. We'll use constitution because barbarians actually get armor class and obviously you get HP from that. Tavern Brawler is absolutely needed, and we do need dual wield for some absolute destruction thanks to Rhapsody, throwing in a lot of +3, +3, +3, +3, and then just whatever you want at the end. But of course we need the giant elixir. This is going to give us 27 strength. Earlier in the game, this is 21 strength, right? The Sparkle Hands is absolutely a must because we get this explosion of lightning charges damage. The Stormy Boots, yep, we can add some reverb in there because we are applying conditions to our folks. And then Lightning Jabber. Lightning Jabber is probably best in class for this idea because it doesn't really have the 1d4 that's not going to apply from what I've tested. But Lightning Jabber's had a history of being a good throwing weapon because when thrown, you get additional lightning damage. So it's all the same at the end of the day. Rhapsody, like I said, 3 and 3 and 3 and 3 and 3 damage. And the Ring of Flinging. I don't actually know if the Ring of Flinging is helping here too much. It might be the Enrage bonus. It might be this was actually all that damage, 1d4 damage. Let's just throw it on there just in case that's what was going on there. But either way, this is the build. It's very simple to use. Guess what you do? You just throw things. But I will say a caveat here. Make sure Lightning Jabber is in the right hand before combat. Okay? You don't want to throw Rhapsody. You'll lose your Rhapsody bonuses. So make sure it's in the right slot. The funny thing is, once you throw this thing, it's now going to be your offhand. But that's okay. Keep throwing it. It'll keep coming back to you. It'll keep being your offhand. For next fight, you're going to want to make sure it's switched. And at the start of the fight, make sure it's your main hand so you can cleaver, okay? So, what about water damage? Okay. So, let's see if we can take this to its absolute peak. Absolute stupid limit. We even get a mage hand for being a Swarmkeeper, so that's pretty fun. Let's drop some water on the ground over here for our mage hand. Okay, I'll have some bottles here. Let's have some bottles here. See if the little dude can get it right. Alright. Drop this. It's kind of funny that you have a mage hand to do all of this yourself. So let's go with... How about I do a piercing on the robot? Okay. And then I'm now going to take a little vigilance elixir for my hand. I'm going to piss him off with some water. I'm going to try and hit as many people with water as I can. Okay. Here you go. Alright, you're wet. You're wet. You're wet. You're wet. Okay. So, Karlach, let's go ahead and just maybe chuck a gun at somebody's face. There we go. And we're not going to zap him just yet. Alright. So, bear with me. What I'm going to do is actually pop off like crazy amounts of actions with Karlach here. Just using a little mod. So we have all the actions in the world. We can enrage. And don't forget the cleaver. This is why it needs to be in your main hand. There we go. Okay. So, I threw some water. There we go. It's wet. Okay, so here's the thing. He's wet, so he's not... Somehow he's not weak to lightning. I don't know. There's some kind of bug with these guys or some of their effects. But he's also no longer resisting some piercing damage. So what I'll do is I'll actually throw it at this guy. You know what? Let's throw it at the robot. And we can zap and do big damage. Holy moly. And that's without the vulnerability, which is really lame because just think about how insane this damage would be if he had piercing vulnerability and lightning vulnerability. All that double. So he would take double that kind of damage, okay? But of course, anybody who is wet, even before the Swarmkeeper, is just absolutely annihilated for 46 damage from the Tavern Brawler and everything. And the thing is, this 46 damage, if you had the Swarmkeeper in here, the Swarm damage in here, you would have gotten another roughly 40 damage as well. So you can see how ridiculous this is. I know I have infinite actions right now, but the thing is, like, you have reverb in there, you have the additional lightning damage popping off, and you at least per turn have that one Swarmkeeper hit blowing up for even more damage, getting that, like, whatever, that whatever hit in. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm just gonna end my turn. Oh my gosh. There's a whole new meaning to Cloud Giants. Let's see if we can throw some more water at someone. Let's go. Oh, he's got to get a speed potion. So yeah, even if you didn't have infinite actions, your little Swarmkeeper hand could help you throw water at somebody like this, right? And have everybody come at us. We have resistance because we're a giant barbarian. Look at all these resistances. Alright. Nope, don't hurt Mage Hand. Don't hurt him. No, Hans! Alright, so, yet again, he is still... Yep, oh, he got his resistance back, so that sucks, but he's still, unfortunately, somehow not, like, vulnerable to lightning. But just think about the damage. Okay, let me get... just hit him again, whatever. See how much this does now. That's ridiculous. And then zap! And I pushed him over the ledge. He's donezo. I don't know how he's still alive, though. I think I malfunctioned him. Alright, but that's pretty much gonna do it. Look at the freaking... Oh my goodness, even before the... So if we had the little jellyfish zap there, he would have been absolutely Shrek. So just crazy damage. I think that kind of gets my point across, but I appreciate you guys. That's gonna do it for today. Just wanted to go over a really fun combo with the new subclasses. I know people are chomping at the bit for that stuff. So, how do you use and level up these builds? Well, come watch the live stream. I'm not doing any crazy multi-classes like this yet. You'd be surprised how strong things are in the new patch with the new subclasses on their own, just pure 12 levels, right? I did Arcane Archer, I did Death Domain, I did a few others, and now we're already into a second run on Honor Mode to see how they handle on their own. And I gotta say, Swarmkeeper, just as an archer, it's not as strong as this per se, but it's impressed everybody. So I love answering questions. Keep them coming. I hope this has helped you understand some of the things, or I appreciate you guys actually for helping me correct myself on a few things, because you guys are my sponsor. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, really just watching the video helps the most. And if you want to support it further, well, I made memberships as low as it can be on YouTube. So thank you guys. I'll check you out in another video. Until then, have a blessed one.